If you're learning Spanish and you think you understand it, let's see what happens when a native speaker suddenly says something you have 3 seconds to answer. Entonces tú dijiste que fulano estaba ahí, Rula. Ready? 3, 2, 1, too late. They already finished the conversation, changed the subject, and you're still trying to figure out what the first sentence meant. A native speaker say, no, pero yo te dije que si él venía, tú me avisara, ¿tú me entiendes? And now they're looking at you like, so? And you're sitting there like, claro. You have no idea what just happened. The problem isn't always that your Spanish is bad. Sometimes you simply don't know what to say when you don't understand. And that's what we're fixing today. Because the worst thing you can do is freeze. Let's start with the easiest situation. Situation 1. You heard absolutely nothing. A native speaker talks, you hear blah, 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 blah. You understood maybe one vowel. What do you say? Cómo? That's it. Cómo. In real conversation, this can simply mean what or what did you just say? You don't always need to say disculpe. No comprendí lo que usted acaba de decir. That sounds like you're about to write an official report. Just say ¿cómo? Or ¿qué? Depending on the country and the situation. But be careful. Your tone matters. If you say ¿qué? Like this, you might sound angry. If you say ¿qué? Like this, ¿qué? You simply sound confused. Same word, different tone. And this is something textbooks don't always teach you. Situation 2. You heard them, but your brain didn't process it. This is probably the most annoying one. You heard every word, you know the vocabulary, but the sentence still makes no sense. For example, ¿cómo así? This is extremely useful. It basically means, what do you mean? Or how so? Imagine someone says, yo no voy a ir. You say, ¿cómo así? Now they know, okay, they heard me, but they want an explanation. Another useful phrase is, ¿qué quieres decir? Literally, what do you want to say? But naturally, what do you mean? For example, eso no te conviene. ¿Qué quieres decir? Now the conversation continues. You didn't have to pretend you understood. You didn't have to panic. You just asked for clarification. Situation 3. They are speaking too fast. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes you actually understand Spanish. The problem is that the native speaker is speaking approximately 300 kilometers per hour. So you say, Espérate. Wait, then, ¿qué fue lo que tú dijiste? What was that you say? This is much more natural than just staring at them silently while your brain tries to replay the last 10 seconds. You can also say, Repítelo. Repeat it. Or, más despacio que no te entendí. Slower because I didn't understand you. And notice something. You are not saying, I don't speak Spanish. You're saying, I speak Spanish. You just spoke too fast. Big difference. Situation 4. This is where you can sound much more advanced. Let's say someone says a long sentence. You understood the beginning. You understood the ending, but the middle disappeared. Instead of saying, I don't understand, entendí lo de, pero no entendí lo demás. I understood the part about, but I didn't understand the rest. For example, entendí lo del trabajo, pero no entendí lo demás. I understood the part about your job, but I didn't understand the rest. This is powerful because you're showing the other person, I am following the conversation. I just missed one part. And natives can now explain exactly what you missed. You can also say, ¿qué fue lo último que tú dijiste? What was the last thing you said? This is much better than saying, can you repeat everything when you actually only missed the last 5 words? Situation 5. You don't know one word. This happens constantly. You're listening to a conversation. You understood almost everything. Then suddenly, one word appears. A word you have never heard in your life. Your brain immediately says, the conversation is over. No! Just ask, ¿qué significa eso? What does that mean? Or, ¿qué significa esa palabra? What does that word mean? You can also ask, ¿cómo se dice eso en inglés? If you genuinely need the translation. But here's something important. Don't interrupt the conversation every time you hear one word you don't know. If you understand the general meaning, keep listening. You don't need to understand 100% of every sentence to communicate. Sometimes you can simply ask, ¿te refieres a? Do you mean? For example, ¿te refieres a que no vas a ir? Do you mean that you're not going? Now you're not just asking for a translation. You're checking whether you understood the meaning. That's a much more advanced skill. Now let's put it all together. Imagine this conversation. A native speaker says, oye, yo pensé que tú ibas a venir con nosotros, pero después me dijo que tú no ibas a venir porque tenía que hacer una vaina, algo así. 3 seconds. What do you say? You don't need to understand everything. You can say, espérate, ¿qué fue lo último que tú dijiste? They repeat the last part. You still don't understand one word. You say, ¿qué significa disque? They explain it. You understood the rest. So you say, yeah, entonces tú pensabas que yo iba ahí, pero él te dijo que yo no podía. And now you're back into the conversation. That's the secret. You don't need to understand everything immediately. You need to know how to recover. Because real conversations are not exams. You're allowed to say, ¿Cómo? You're allowed to say, ¿qué quieres decir? You're allowed to say, repítelo. You're allowed to ask what a word means. The goal isn't to understand every single word perfectly. The goal is to keep the conversation moving. And if you want to sound more natural, stop automatically saying, I don't understand Spanish. When what you really mean is, I didn't hear that. Or, I didn't understand that part. Or, what do you mean? Those are completely different situations. And the more specific you are, the easier it is for the native speaker to help you. Now, if you want the complete survival toolkit for this lesson, my pro learners and all access members get an exclusive PDF with 50 natural phrases to use when you don't understand a native speaker. They're organized by situation when you heard absolutely nothing, and when you heard the words but not the meaning, when someone is speaking too fast, and when you only understood part of the sentence, and when you want to keep the conversation going instead of just saying, sorry, I don't understand. And if you're all access member, you can also send me a short video of yourself speaking Spanish. I'll personally help you with your pronunciation, your accent, and the things you can improve to sound more natural. Click the join button next to subscribe if you want all access. Now I want to know, what's the phrase you use when you don't understand a native speaker?